Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hey, What's New for another week. Wave Donny, yay! Um, my name is Derek Bingham. I am a developer advocate at AWS, and I still have the caption up, so I'm going to get rid of that. And welcome to the Hey, What's New show. For those of you who haven't seen the Hey, What's New show before, what we're all really about is taking articles from the AWS What's New blog and writing cool little demos to show you more about what the actual service release is all about. And as well as myself, Derek here, I have also the awesome Donny. Donny, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so thank you, Derek. Hello, everyone. I'm Donny, same with Sir Derek Bingham. I'm a developer advocate covering Southeast Asia and based in Singapore. Hope you guys are doing well.
Awesome. So that's the introductions out of the way. So the structure of our show is, well, I'm going to really just hand it over to Donny, and Donny's going to show us the what's new thing for today. But as always, if you've got any questions as Donny goes through our service for today, our release for today, just pop them in the chat. We're going across a number of different channels across Asia Pacific and as well as the main AWS Twitch channel. So just feel free to pop everything in the chat. And as Donny goes through, he'll mention a few things and I'll try and
Yep.
pop those links in the chat as well. So without any further ado, Donny, it's over to you, man.
Thank you. Okay, so just to let everyone knows, I had difficulties on choosing which new features to cover for today. I discussed this with Derek also. There are just so many interesting stuff to cover. But today we're going to talk about AWS Lambda extensions. So yeah, so let me share my screen. Yep. Um, can you see my screen on the stream, Derek?
I can't. Let me see if I can help you there. There you go, Donny.
Cool. Thank you so much. So this is the news post that's going to be the main reference for today's session. And just a quick intro about Lambda extensions. Lambda extensions is a feature that AWS added into AWS Lambda that allows you to integrate your functions with various tools, both internal or external with ease. So the way I'd like to describe Lambda extensions is that it is a plugin mechanism built into AWS Lambda. And it's actually more powerful than what I described, as you can build your own extensions or just to integrate with available options. So I wanted to head straight into the demo to see it to share with you in action about these Lambda extensions. This is my AWS Lambda console. I think let me zoom in.
Yep, that's a
Yeah,
bit
I think that's
better.
much better,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
So in this demo, we have a Lambda functions to retrieve configuration files from AWS app config. You know that configuration file is one of the most important element whenever we do development, as most of the times we need to define some variables for our applications to run properly or to distinguish the behavior of our applications to react in certain environments like staging or production. So this is the Lambda function that I've already configured and connected to Lambda extensions. The Lambda extension is connected to app config to retrieve the configurations. So I will run tests on this function. Oh, and
Yep.
you see that we have the configurations that I have defined with app config. So that is the end results of today's demo, but I will explain on how I build it this in a couple of minutes, right? So
So,
yeah, so
Donny,
Derek, yeah.
how long have you been using Lambda extensions? Is this something you have used a lot in the past, or is this something that you've just recently started to tinker with?
Yep. So I've started tinkering with these Lambda extensions starting from last year's actually when it was in preview, and when it released, I've started tinkering again, and especially and for me, I have a couple of takeaways that I can share with all of you. So for me as a developer who most of the times developing with serverless computing, I could say that 60% of my demo apps are running on AWS Lambda, while others are using containers because they, by nature, they are just more complex. And I can say that I really love these Lambda extensions. because it gives me the ability to augment, to enrich my Lambda functions and fits it better into the system. So yeah, I've been playing with Lambda extension for a while, and I can see that it fits many use cases, from monitoring, observability, security, to develop caching mechanism for your serverless application. And we know that AWS Lambda has integration to various services within AWS, and that simplifies the development process, right? And the way it works is in AWS Lambda, in its execution environment, it has a life cycle. And why I love Lambda extension is that it provides access for me to have more granular control for my Lambda function. So let me take you deeper into how everything works. I'm going to use one post. Yeah, so this is the post that Julian Wood wrote last year. He has a really useful diagram that can help us to demystify how the magic works with Lambda extensions. Okay, so here it is. Let me zoom in. Yeah. So this is a diagram, right? You see, it is beautiful, Derek. And it really shows us how both extensions and runtime API works in Lambda functions. So it's all started with Lambda on the left, which if your function were invoked, is going to run in the execution environment. Now, the execution environment also provides lifecycle supports for the function's runtime, internal extensions, and external extensions, if any. In the execution environments, there are two components, processes and API endpoints. So extensions communicate with Lambda using these extensions API. So this is the bridge between the Lambda service and the process to runtime, function, and extension. But how does it relate to the lifecycle that Lambda has? So Lambda has three phases on its lifecycle. There are init, invoke, and shutdown. With Lambda extensions, we can have Lambda service to send out the event when it reaches the init and shutdown phase. So what does it mean for us, for developers? It means that we now have the flexibility to augment our Lambda function. And because extension is running on execution environments, it means that we now can easily develop long-running processes with AWS Lambda. Although it's not entirely the same like what we used to in context of VMs, but we can utilize the in-memory in execution environment to retrieve and store data for subsequent invocation. Right? And other than that, it provides us a way to integrate with existing tools like any SaaS providers that already built integrations with Lambda extensions like Sentry, like HashiCorp Vault. And we can integrate it without complex installation or any kind of configuration. It also reduces function code. Because it encapsulates the whole invocations process.
So that just going back in the SaaS providers, we have a question from Twitch from Cloud Guru 2033. Have you come across how I can integrate with applications like Slack?
Oh, so that's really good questions. We have a list of options that ready that you can integrate easily with Lambda extensions. But we don't have anything yet from Slack. So if you want to integrate with Slack, what you can do is you can build your own extension and integrate with your Slack. So that's how it works.
Cool.
Okay, so I think it's time to go through the demo.
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. Okay, so oops, my bad. Okay, so before we go to the demo, not the demo, on how I built the demo, let me show you the architecture diagram to let you understand how I built it. Right. So starting from the left, I have the config files in the parameter store. I can also put the config file in Amazon S3. It's just I already have existing demo config sitting in the parameter store. Then I have AWS app config to manage the deployment for the config files for me. Yeah, you heard that right. With app config, so app config is a service that you can use to manage the deployment for your configuration file. That's really cool, right? And another advantage of using app config is that you can also validate your configuration files before it's actually deployed and then being used by your applications. But that's for another day, okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
so yep.
one question as well is can we build our own extensions, Donny? I think you mentioned it in Slack. You can build your own for Slack, but what's another good use case for building our own extensions?
So there's a lot of use cases for building our own extensions. I do have one demo at the end of the session. I can share with you now actually. So like for example, if you want to enhance your applications, your serverless applications with a hardened security agent, that's something that you can build with Lambda extensions, and you can build on your own.
Mhm.
Another cool use case that I really love is that we can build a caching mechanism for your serverless applications by utilizing the execution environment. So that's something that you can utilize these Lambda extensions to build
Yep.
those kind of cool use cases.
Cool.
Okay. I promise you, Derek, I'm going to show you how that we can build our own Lambda extensions. Okay. Okay. So, where were we? Okay. So,
Config.
app
Yep.
config. Did I mention how cool it is? The app config that you can deploy
You
and
did. You
validate.
did that.
Okay.
And I posted a link there on the channel if people are interested in getting
Awesome.
started with app
Thank you.
config
So
as well.
we've gone past that. Okay, so moving on, then we will retrieve those configuration from AWS Lambda functions by leveraging Lambda extensions. And what I'm hoping is that I can see all the config files printed out by AWS Lambda, and I can see it from the test console. So the demo is very basic, but it shows you a few important things. First, it shows you how to integrate your Lambda functions with Lambda extensions. And second, how you can call the Lambda extension from your Lambda function. Okay. Okay. So
Mhm.
now let's switch to the parameter store just to show you a quick look on the configuration file. So this is the demo configuration file that I have here. Yeah. I defined the application name, application port, and also the debug mode. This config was actually used to run container applications, but this will work just fine for this demo.
Mhm.
And then we go to the app config. Oops. Here you go. Okay, so this is my app config dashboard. I have one configuration ready. Um, so so this app config, I have defined the environments and also the configuration profiles. For the configuration profiles, you can see that I'm using SSM parameter as the source. Okay, now let's go to the staging environment. And you can see that I've deployed this configuration a couple of times, and now it's currently it is currently on the configuration version 9. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So now we have the configuration file ready. Now let's switch to AWS Lambda here. Yeah, and let me show you how to integrate the extensions. So to integrate with the extensions, here you go. You need to go to the configuration,
Mhm.
right? And then go to the monitoring and operation tools here. And on this page, you can see there's a link to extensions page that you can click, right?
Come on, internet. There we go.
Thank you. Okay, so we are on the extensions list, and this list shows both products from AWS and AWS Lambda Ready partner, and you can click on each product to see how you can integrate. Like for example, one of my personal favorite, Sentry, right? So here you can see, you can read the guide on how to start integrating with Sentry via Lambda extensions.
Mhm.
But for this demo, we're going to use app config, right? Here you go. Okay, so before I forgot, there are 3 ways on how you can deploy your extensions. First, you can include extensions in Lambda container image. This way, you need to build image using Docker or AWS SAML and include the extensions.
Yep.
Second approach is by bootstrapping the extensions and place it in a dedicated folder in your Lambda application. And that special folder is /opt/extensions, which is going to be picked up by the execution environment. And lastly, you can use Lambda Layers to deploy your extensions. And Lambda Layers is what we're going to use today.
Cool.
For the app config case, here you go. It also already provided a couple of layers that we can easily copy and paste and then use it into our AWS Lambda functions. So I'm going to use these layers for Singapore region. And then let me go to my Lambda functions. Click on the code. Okay, and then I just need to add it here into the layers. I've already added here. So let me show you how it looks like. You can choose to specify on ARN and then just copy and paste it here. Okay.
Yeah, I just for those of us watching here not familiar with Lambda Layers, I'll put another link in on the stream as well if you want to dive deeper into layers.
Yeah, Lambda Layers is super cool.
Very cool.
Okay, so now after you've added your Lambda Layers, you still need to configure the RM role if you're accessing any AWS services from your extensions. So let's check our role here. Yep.
Come on, internet. For those of us, if you've seen the show before, you'll know that the demo gods can sometimes are not kind to us.
Yeah, so previously we only rely on demo gods, but we realized there's another god, which is screen sharing gods, and now we have internet gods. There are so many gods.
Yes.
Okay, so we are now at the IAM role. Now we have this policy that's being used by the Lambda functions, right? So as you can see here, I already added the IAM permissions to allow these Lambda functions to get configuration from application config. Right. So just whenever you use Lambda function, because it shares the same resources with your Lambda functions, you still need to define these IAM roles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's next? Okay, so next is that now if let me test it again. Okay, so we already know how to integrate the Lambda extensions. The remaining puzzle piece that we need to uncover is how we can call the extensions. So this is the line. This is the line that shows us how we can interact with the extensions API by using HTTP API. And that's really cool, Derek, because I don't need to learn any new methods, right? I know that's going to give me the response by requesting to this URL. Now, if we test it again, you can see that we have the configurations, and then we also get the additional information logging from the app config agent, right? So you can see here, and if you build your own extensions, you will be able to see all the logs into these CloudWatch as well. So that's my demo, Derek. Do you want me to go straight to how we can build our own extensions?
Oh, not yet, Dolly.
Okay.
We have a question, which is one of the better questions that I've seen on Twitch, and this is it here. We like to run the show in a very tongue-in-cheek manner. This question, I think, is one of those. So Zacho asks, how is CloudWatch extensions different from Lambda Insights? So what Zach means is, how is CloudWatch Insights different from Lambda extensions? But I see what he's done there, and that is a fantastically worded question. Thanks, Zach. The answer is they're completely different. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, my question, in all seriousness, is around the performance of Lambda extensions. Do you have a view on the performance, Donny?
Okay, so that is a really good question. So the way it works on how Lambda extensions works is that it's going to share the same resources. So it's going to affect the performance of your functions. And I mentioned that you can actually build your Lambda extensions on a couple of phases in Lambda lifecycle, and just want to let you know that you need to be very careful when you build your Lambda extensions, especially in the init phase, because it's going to give an overhead activities, especially if it's going to compute like a heavy resources on your Lambda. It's going to affect the overall performance of your Lambda function and also the duration.
Cool. Nice to know. Good info. Okay, so now is it time to build our own Lambda extension?
Oh yes, definitely. Okay. Now, in case that you want to build your own, okay, so your own extensions, we have a repo that I believe is a great starting point for you to learn and to develop extensions. So
There it is.
Oh, that's really fast. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
So let's take an example here. I'm going to take the Python example extension. I will not cover all the details, but I just want to point out some important stuff. Okay, first, when you develop extensions, it comes in two parts. The files, first one is the files that you need to deploy to /opt/extensions, and your app is itself that needs to be referenced by the script on /opt/extensions. For example, in this sample, let me show you the file. Yeah, so this file is actually going to be executed by the execution environment, and it's actually triggering the Python file. You can see it here. Right. And if we go back, it's actually referencing to to this file. And this is the Python file that will be executed. And we will see the outputs in the Lambda function as well. And fortunately, I have deployed this sample, and I can show you how it works. So have I deployed it? Oh, okay. Yes, I did.
Let's hope you've deployed it.
Yes. This is the Lambda extensions. Okay, so we're going to reuse the previous function. And okay, so I'm going to add the layer here. Okay, I'm going to specify the ARN. I'm going to copy. Okay, so I think now we're good. Now let's test it out. Oh, okay. So it worked successfully, and you can see that there are a couple of lines coming from
Hold on,
the
it
extensions.
worked. You mean it
Yes,
worked?
it worked.
Ooh,
Thank you,
that's the
God.
first. Yay!
Yeah. So that's how that you can develop your own extensions. I really recommend you to go to the repo that Derek already shared with you. It's really great starting point.
That one.
But yes, correct. Yeah, that one. So another thing is that I just want to emphasize on the performance. You might want to be really careful, especially if you're working on the init phase. If you perform any heavy compute, it will surely affect both your function performance and duration. But all in all, I think Lambda extensions are just great. Direct, it enables us to unlock a couple of use cases that previously impossible. Now, we can, with Lambda extensions, we can capture diagnostic information before, during, and after function invocation. We can instrument our codes without any code changes because everything is already encapsulated by extensions. I mentioned that we can create a casing mechanism by utilizing the execution environment via extensions, and other cases, especially in security and governance. And I also think that most of the developers don't really need to build their own extensions unless they have a specific use case like what I mentioned. And for most developers, you can just simply integrate with the available options, and you don't need to build it from scratch. And I think that's a really
Nice.
a good value proposition from Lambda extensions.
No, it's really nice. Very cool, Donny. I must admit, I have never have looked at Lambda extensions until today, and so I've learned quite a bit from your great little demo and talk around Lambda extensions. So thanks very much
know
for
that.
If anybody has any questions on this or anything else within AWS, you can follow Donny and myself on Twitter and just reach out and ask us there. Also, we've had a number of past episodes of our show, and if you want to check out some of the past episodes, you can do via that link as well. There was one thing I had mentioned. Yeah, you go, Donny. Go.
Just want to let everyone knows that if you have any feedback, so if you're having difficulties on developing with specific AWS services, you can reach out to us as well. We will help you out to give you some solutions. And yeah, so feedback's really much appreciated.
Absolutely. And then finally, before we go today, we're actually going to change our time. So we're going to push our time back by an hour. So instead of starting at 1 p.m. Singapore time, we're going to be starting at 2 p.m. Singapore time from the next episode. So that's something for your diaries. And yeah, so thanks for enjoying the show. I hope you learned as much as I did. Let's face it. From today's show, reach out to Donny and myself, and that's it for me, Donny. Anything else to add before we go?
I think that's all from me, Derek. Thank you, Derek, for hosting this session.
I didn't do anything, as I said. You did all the work. All right. See you, everybody.
Okay. Have a blessed weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yay. See ya.